Hey guys, welcome back. It's Hogg the Spike from the Trinisphere, where a Timmy, a Johnny, and yours truly battle over all things EDH. Today we're going to do a deck tech on a Theros Beyond Death legendary creature, Siona, Captain of the Pyleas. Don't hate me if I butchered that name. She is 1 green and a white for a legendary creature, human soldier, 2/2. When Siona, Captain of the Pyleas, enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal an aura card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a creature you control, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. So obviously we've gone with the aura build and little spin on it. We're going to be doing $50 budget, all right? Before we get started, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you like the deck tech, you like the deck, you can go ahead and follow our affiliate link to TCG Player in the show notes and go ahead and purchase those cards. And a portion of your purchase will come back to help our show. Jumping in, we're going to break this deck tech up into some categories. We've got ramp, card draw, removal, some tutors, some board wipes, some recursion, a little bit of graveyard hate, and a couple of I win the game cards. And then after we talk about all of those, we're just going to focus on cards that really make this commander go boom. Some of our more important main deck cards. So jumping right in with ramp, we've got Llanowar Elves, Avacyn's Pilgrim, Wild Growth, One with Nature, Rampant Growth, Fertile Ground, Ordeal of Nylea, Talisman of Unity, Celestia Signet, Cultivate, Overgrowth, and Explosive Vegetation. A lot of these are auras, or as many as I could afford to make in a $50 budget, and that's going to help a lot when we get to our card draw section when we talk about our enchantresses, because anytime we cast an aura, we're going to be able to draw a card. So really focusing on Wild Growth and Fertile Ground, and even Ordeal of Nylea, is going to not only ramp us, but also draw us cards with the right pieces. So like we said, jumping into ramp, we've got Sixth Sense, SRAM, Senior Edificer, Core Spirit Dancer, Season of Growth, Mesa Enchantress, Satyr Enchanter, Enchantress's Presence, Snake Umbra, Eidolon of Blossoms, and Sage's Reverie. So those enchantresses that we talked about, we have 6 of them. Most are creatures, but some are not. The one I did want to talk most about here is Season of Growth. With our commander in play, Season of Growth reads, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. And whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. So it's not an enchantress like the others, but when we cast our auras, they're going to be targeting our creatures. So that's going to trigger that second ability, and it will effectively be an enchantress, so we'll draw cards. And if we have Siona in play, whenever we do that, we're going to be making a 1/1 white human soldier, which will trigger the first ability, letting us scry 1. So all in all, this is a really hot find for this deck. Removal, we've got Swords to Plowshares, Seal of Cleansing, Seal of Primordium, Kenrith's Transformation, Lignify, Banishing Light, and Faith Unbroken. Now I went for a kind of 50-50 split on creature removal versus artifact enchantment removal, and then Banishing Light being the kind of catch-all answer. And both of the seals are good because you can play them early, potentially draw a card with one of your enchantresses, and you don't have to use them right away. They're just removal that can sit in play, and you can wait for your most opportune moment to use them. Our tutors, we don't have many on a strict budget, but we do have a couple that find us our most important cards during the game. We have Heliod's Pilgrim, 3 Dreams, and Plea for Guidance. Now 3 Dreams only searches for aura cards, but you get 3 of them for 5 mana, which is very strong. And Plea for Guidance can search for any enchantment, but you only get 2. We have a couple of board wipes in the deck. We've got Mass Calcify, 5 white, just destroy all non-white creatures, which is really good because almost every creature in the deck is white, bar Eidolon of Blossoms, and our Mana Dorks. Our second board wipe is Dusk to Dawn, which again, the first half of Dusk is destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, which most of our creatures are sub 3 power unless we're suiting them up with our auras. And a lot of our auras give our creatures indestructible. So Dusk will almost always be a one-sided board wipe, effectively. We'll get to keep all of our creatures, and all of our opponent's creatures will get destroyed. And then Dawn returns all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. And again, that's going to bring back almost every creature from our graveyard to your hand. So both of these board wipes are very good in this deck. Our recursion, we have 2 pieces. We've got Crystal Chimes and Creeping Renaissance. Both are kind of massive graveyard recursion, kind of all in the one go. Crystal Chimes is just an artifact that you sack to bring back all of your enchantment cards from your graveyard to your hand. And then Creeping Renaissance you choose a permanent type, and you can return all cards of the chosen type from your graveyard to your hand. So it could be auras, it could be creatures. Those are really the only permanent types in this deck. You're never really going to choose artifact or anything like that. And then of course Creeping Renaissance has flashback for 5 green. We do have 1 graveyard hate card, Ashes of the Abhorrent. We don't want to let graveyard-based decks go too crazy. Ashes of the Abhorrent is 1 colorless and a white. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or activate abilities of cards in graveyards. And a nice little caveat down here at the bottom. Whenever a creature dies, you gain a life. So incidental life gain strapped onto a pretty relevant protection ability. And of course, we can tutor this card out with our Plea for Guidance. And the last of our categories here that we're going to talk about are our kind of oops, I win the game cards. Now, a lot of you probably already know, but if you don't, Shielded by Faith is a 1-card combo with Siona, Captain of the Pyleas. Now, Shielded by Faith is 1 white for an enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has indestructible. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may attach Shielded by Faith to that creature. So how this is going to work is we're going to play Shielded by Faith, targeting Siona, Captain of the Pyleas. And she says whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a creature, her in this example, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. So we're going to play Shielded by Faith, target Siona, make a 1/1. The 1/1 is going to come into play. The Shielded by Faith is going to move over onto that 1/1, and then Siona is going to make another 1/1. And this basically just lets you make as many 1/1 white human soldiers as you want. It just makes, you can make infinite, whatever. Just flood the board with white human soldiers. And then of course the last white human soldier that gets the Shielded by Faith will be indestructible. So this obviously is a house. If you play it, you can play it as early as turn 4. Boom, play your commander on turn 3, play Shielded by Faith on turn 4. A million 1/1s is going to win you the game. Secondly, Overwhelming Stampede is our other oops, I win the game card. It's 3 green. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Now I like this because you can kind of go both tall and wide with Siona. You can suit up 1 creature with a bunch of auras and crash into the red zone, or enchant this creature, enchant that creature. Every time making another 1/1 human, you're going to go wide, and then even if one of your creatures is a 4/4, giving all of those 1/1 humans +4/+4 is going to be insane. You're almost always going to win the game as well when you cast this card, especially when you're playing against other decks that are $50 budget, like you will see in our upcoming gameplay video, where we have each picked a Theros Beyond Death commander that we will play against each other. All right, so breaking into some of these main deck cards that didn't fit into our previous mentioned categories. On the go wide strategy, we have both Ajani's Chosen and Sigil of the Empty Throne. Sigil of the Empty Throne gives you a 4/4 white angel creature token whenever you cast an enchantment spell, and Ajani's Chosen gives you a 2/2 white cat whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield. And if that enchantment is an aura, you can attach it to the cat made. So both of these let you go wide because this deck does not have many creatures. We're only running 12. And like we said before, a lot of those are enchantresses, which, don't get me wrong, you can suit up, you can Voltron up an enchantress, but if we don't have one, we do need ways of generating creatures, so those fill that role here for us. 2 of our other creatures that we didn't talk about before are Herald of the Pantheon and Danitha Capuchin Paragon. Both of these creatures reduce the cost of our auras by 1 colorless. Herald of the Pantheon has incidental life gain whenever we cast an enchantment spell. We'll gain 1 life per enchantment cast. And Danitha is just a really good beater. She has First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Some of our Red Zone special cards here. We've got Ethereal Armor, All That Glitters, Daybreak Coronet, Ancestral Mask, and Eidolon of Countless Battles. Now, outside of Daybreak Coronet, I just really love that card, and getting an opportunity to play it in a budget deck is awesome. Outside of that one, the other 4 all kind of do a similar thing. They give enchanted creature +1/+1 for each aura on the battlefield. Eidolon of Countless Battles is each aura and each creature on the battlefield. And then Ancestral Mask is each other enchantment on the battlefield. Now these just are huge. They're all pretty cheap, and they buff your creatures so nicely. If commander damage is the plan you're on, then these will get you there. And just go ahead and tutor for them with maybe your 3 dreams, and you'll get the ball rolling. Then we also have some protection auras. Obviously, we don't want our enchantresses to die. We want to keep drawing cards throughout the game. We don't want to be recasting our commander, albeit she does have a sweet ETB. She does let you go find an aura. So some of these protection auras we have Spider Umbra and Hyena Umbra. Both cost 1 mana, and they both have Totem Armor. Totem Armor says if enchanted creature would be destroyed, instead remove all damage from it and destroy the aura. So it kind of eats the bullet for your creature dying. And of course, if you have other auras on the creature, those stay there and you just remove the one that has Totem Armor. We're also playing Flicker Form, which, if you have the mana available, is very strong. It's 1 and a white enchantment aura. It has pay 2 white, exile enchanted creature and all auras attached to it. At the beginning of the next end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If you do, return the other cards exiled this way to the battlefield under their owner's control attached to that creature. So it not only protects your creature, but it also protects all of the auras on that creature and brings them all back into play. And if we have any auras attached to that creature that have ETB abilities, we're going to get all of those abilities a second time. Not to mention, if we have Flicker Form on our commander, every time we pay 4 mana, we're going to get to dig through the top 7 and snag our best aura to hand. And then, of course, we have Gift of Immortality and Shield of the Oversoul. Gift doesn't grant indestructible, but basically when the creature dies, you bring it back at the beginning of the next end step. And Shield of the Oversoul gives our creature indestructible if it's green and flying if it's white. Lastly, the last 2 cards I wanted to talk about here, both multicolored. We have Armadillo Cloak and Unflinching Courage. They are effectively the same card. They both give enchanted creature +2/+2, trample, and lifelink, which again, if you do want to tutor for something, one of these or both of these are going to be great options because they're really going to let you close the game out quickly. Finishing off, we're playing 15 forests and 15 plains, and then a handful of non-basic lands. We've got Celestia Guildgate, Grey Pelt Refuge, Tranquil Expanse, Blossoming Sands, and then we've got Stirring Wildwoods, a green-white manland that animates itself into a 3/4 elemental with reach. And we've got Reliquary Tower, because once we get a couple of enchantresses in play and start casting enchantments, we're going to have a lot of cards in hand, and we're not really going to want to discard. So we did squeeze a Reliquary Tower into the budget. Alright guys, wrapping up. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And stay tuned for next week. We're going to do some deck techs and some gameplays of the Theros Beyond Death Gods. We're going to have a God matchup after we do this preliminary pick your favorite creature matchup. Alright guys, this is Hogg signing off, and remember, if you're not first, then you're last.